There are many, many. I run courses and conflict resolution that can last 3 days. So I just want to share with you a few tips in this short video to get you started. So the first thing I would say is prevent them in the first place. And how you do that is you learn as much as possible about human nature and how to deal with conflict behaviors, and because it's much harder to deal with people once they become angry or hurt, or those sorts of things. So learn about human nature so that you can communicate with them in a way that stops conflict arising in the first place. Another thing that you can do is, because actually different views about how things should be done and disagreements are quite normal, and one way to deal with it is to first of all think, well, okay, so I'm going to talk this person, I'd like them to do this. How are they likely? What objections are they likely to come up with? So you think of all their likely objections, and then you think about how you could resolve those objections. So for instance, if you want people to agree to a certain marketing plan and they think, oh, we can't afford it, then you put a case together which shows that by doing that marketing they'll get more money back than it cost. Okay, so just think about, what if you want to have more time off with your boss from work and you've got to ask your boss, then think about all the objections. Maybe think, well, how are we going to get the work done? So you might say, well, if I could work from home sometimes, I'll cut out my commuting time, and therefore I will have more time. I'll have more time to get the things you want me to get done, and still have some time for some of the things I want to do. So it's just thinking about, what objections might come up, and how could you satisfy the person that they could be taken care of. Another tip for dealing with conflict at work is to avoid complaining about the person you have a conflict with behind their back. Deal with them directly first. And you think about it, if somebody had a conflict with you, which would you prefer? Would you like them to talk to everybody else about it first, or would you like them to deal with you? And once you realise, whenever I ask that question, most people think, yeah, actually, I'd like them to deal with me first. Then make it easy for people to deal with you, and give them every opportunity to have a proper adult, mature resolution of the conflict, so that it doesn't fester and involve people it doesn't need to involve. So it's really important. The other thing, of course, about if you talk about other people behind their backs, then you create a culture where people do that, and of course they're more likely to do it back to you. So create the culture that you want to work in. Another way to deal with conflict is to think about what your part was in creating it in the first place. This is a really powerful question to ask yourself, but it's not a blame question. It's not asking you to say, oh, it was all my fault, because that's far from what I'm asking you. What I am saying is, think about what was your part in a curious way. If I had a part to play in this, what was it? For instance, did I ask somebody to do something when they didn't have the skills to deliver? Or I wasn't very clear about what I wanted? Or I didn't check they understood what I wanted? Or I asked them in a way that was abrupt and perhaps demotivated them? Or just explore all those sorts of things that might have been your part, because the powerful thing about that is that that's the bit you can control in any conflict. So if you can take your part out of it, it's harder for somebody to have an argument with you. So if we're thinking on the bigger scale, then where you can't resolve this conflict, you can't negotiate your way out of it, then another route is to have a mediator, somebody you both trust, who listens to both sides of the argument and facilitates and helps you reach an agreement and keeps you both calm. And if that doesn't work, then you can also get somebody to arbitrate. And what that means is they're a trusted person who's skilled and qualified to do it, who again listens to both sides of the argument and then comes up with a binding solution that both sides have to stick to. So if you find that you're in a situation where conflicts arise, perhaps at home or in your work, then I'd like to offer you a free discovery session to see what we can do to help you have a smoother time, where you can get the best out of people without conflict. You can still have disagreements, not conflict. So that session is free, and we'll be discussing what your relationships are like, what triggers those conflicts, and then any hidden barriers to resolving them, and also then how you'd like those relationships to be. And then I'll be able to show you how I could help you bridge that gap. And that free discovery session you can book through my website, buildingselfconfidence.co.uk. I have another website, successformanagers.co.uk, and that's FOR, for managers. And you can email me or telephone me, and we'll pick a time and day where we can either meet face-to-face or over Skype or even over the telephone and have that session. So I look forward to talking to you then.